going to do a craft that's totally different today. This set of little frames came from Hobby Lobby in their woodies or their wood pile, whatever it's called, section when they were 40% off last week, I think. Anyway, I'm going to be putting something in the center here, not butted up against the edge, but I wanted about a 1/2 inch in each of the 4 items. So my first step is to measure my inside dimensions. So that's 4 by, we'll say 5 3/4. So if I want a 1/2 inch in, I need to take 1 inch off of both dimensions. So instead of 4 by 5 3/4, it's going to be 3 by 4 3/4. Alright, so that's step 1. I probably should transfer that to something else because it may end up getting covered up. Okie dokie. So what I have here is just a board, and I have put, well, what do you call this? I have put parchment paper on it and taped that to it. I'm gonna have to get some more boards. This was about the biggest one I found, so with that in mind, we're gonna do the largest one first, 7 by 10.5, and that will fit on there. This is clay. It's really not the clay that is necessarily recommended for this kind of project. Plaster flower relief is what I'm doing. The kind of clay that's recommended is the kind that you can mold and bake in the oven. But when I bought this over a year ago, tells you how long I've been interested in doing it, I guess I didn't totally know what I was buying, but this did say that it never hardens. And it doesn't, but you are supposed to keep it in a plastic bag. However, it is not soft like molding clay. And when I was playing around with this the other day, I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to get this rolled out. I mean, it's just, I can't even hardly move it. I had to use a very strong knife to even cut it off the block. But here's what I found out. If I heat it up, it then does become pliable. So that's going to be step 1. Because I have to be able to roll this out with a rolling pin. See how that heat made it much more pliable. But as it cools, I'll still have to put heat on it. And I could just go and get the correct kind of clay, but frankly, I have this, and I don't want to waste using it, and I really don't want to spend the money on getting something that I don't necessarily have to have. Now, the one difference, though, other than being pliable with the clay that you can mold easily and bake, is that it comes in different tints. Like a yellow ochre or more of a earthy brown. And in the end, once you cast these flower castings, that kind of clay will actually come off a little bit it'll adhere somewhat to your casting, and then you have to wash it off. And you can wash off as much as you want or not, you know, because it's going to have a tint to it. What I found with this when I was playing with it the other day is nothing comes off on the casting. It's clean, so you're not going to have any tint coming off on it. All right, heat it up again, then we'll roll it out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'll actually just use a knife. I'm kind of going to eyeball a straight line here. Make sure how far over I've got to go. So compared to the edge of my board, I'm just eyeballing a straight line. A little thicker in the middle. Okay, and I want 7. Now we need to go outside and find some flowers. I got to thinking about this. Before I go out and get flowers to start the process, I was thinking, okay, are these individual pictures, or are they a grouping? And, you know, and I decided a grouping. And in doing so, I was thinking, how would you lay it out? So if this one were up and down, for example, maybe something like that as a grouping. The other one, just, I don't know, it doesn't really fit. So I'm thinking I'll save this for another similar project or something completely different. So I'm going to go ahead and roll out for these two as well. So the large one I did will be an up and down. This will be an up and down, and this one will be a sideways. The other reason I want to go ahead and roll it out is because if I mix too much plaster, I'll have my other two ready to do and pour. So I'm going to repeat. No sense in you watching that. Got a lot of weeds. Oh, the burner is blooming. Oh, that would be super sweet. Yeah, let's take some of those. Too much sunshine right now on these. They don't like sun.
and our trees haven't bloomed out yet completely. I hate to cut them all off, but some azaleas might be cool. Get some of these. Oh, there's a honeybee. Hello, honeybee. These are real tight over here, so we'll get some of them. Not the healthiest looking things in the world. Let's see what else we can find.
Alright, this is my large one. When planning this out, you also have to think in reverse. If you watched my reverse decoupage video, it's the same thing. So what you put down first is going to be in the foreground. So you have to think about that with height and such. What would grow low to the ground? This is yarrow. It's a fairly early stage of growth. You can position it like you want. Move things around a bit. Don't know if the lamb's ear, if I want to use that or not. Let's see. I think I'll turn it around where the leaves, the veiny part, will get imprinted. Maybe both directions. All right, let's start there. Now again, remember this clay is already getting hard again, so the first thing I'm going to do is hit it with my dryer just to soften the clay a little bit. Take this one first. I'm going to take my rolling pin roll into the clay. Using a bit of pressure. So I want to leave a good imprint. to use real flowers. You could use faux flowers, faux vines. You can also use stamps. The sprig stamp, for example, you could use, which would be very nice with this. I think I've got enough going on, but I will show you when I was playing around with it the other day. This is what I cast using the sprig stamp. And it looks really nice, doesn't it? So you can do it with faux things too. They don't have to be real flowers. Okay, before I move on to the other things I have to do with this, I'm going to go ahead and do the impressions on my other two, and then we'll come back.
Hey darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand. Hey darling, I love it when it's me and you on the road with a couple of tunes in a car for two. Hey darling, you know we're gonna have a really good time, driving in the middle of the night when the stars are bright. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand.
The next step in trying to think through this is how am I going to attach this onto the wooden back. And I could glue it, but plaster is heavy. So I think what I'm going to do is use this wire, and in 4 corners poke a hole. Cut me plenty of length. And I'm going to stick that wire through there about halfway.
this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand. Yeah, we only get one life, I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand.
Okay, now I need to build some side walls. I'm going to use polystyrene. You could probably just use clay, because we'll end up having to use the clay also after the polystyrene. But I'm going to build some walls on the outer edge. Just gonna build a little dike to hold in our walls and to keep any of the plaster from seeping out underneath. Do this all the way around. And after all that, it is ready for plaster. So I'll do the other two. We'll go up top on the front porch and pour the plaster. All right, I'm on my back porch. We have a storm coming in and it's extremely windy on the front porch. So I'm back here on the back porch on the table. Hopefully it is pretty level. What I'm going to use for plaster is plaster of Paris. Directions are on the back of the bag, but there are a couple things they don't tell you that I think are helpful tips. I have 2 cups of cold water here, and to that I'm going to add 3 cups of plaster. I need to go get 2 more things. Hang on. Okay, so when you're applying the plaster into the water, they don't tell you this, but the best way to do it is to sprinkle, come on dogs, is to sprinkle it on the top slowly. You're gonna see it sink. It sinks really quickly at first. But the closer you get to it being the right consistency, it's not going to sink as quickly. That's 2 cups. And now for the third. You may be able to tell that it's already taking a little less time for it to sink. Like it has little islands that take a bit of time to sink, which is what you want. I would wear gloves. All right, there's my 3 cups. I'm letting it sink all the way. And now I will use a gloved hand to stir and mix. You do not want to stir vigorously. You want to try to keep air bubbles out. I don't feel any lumps anywhere, so I think we're good. Take that off for right now. Okay, so I'm gonna start pouring this first one. And before I add any more to it, I'm almost right at 1/4 of an inch thick, which is really what I want. I'll add a tiny bit more. Now I'm going to use a paintbrush. Try to kind of smooth some of that out and get those air bubbles out. I'm gonna leave it alone, let it sit. It will take about 30 minutes. You do not want to wash up your tools in a kitchen sink. You need to do it outdoors. You don't want this stuff going down your drain. Well, I've undone the first one. Here's what we have. The azaleas. So to undo, the first thing you do is remove your clay barrier. Remember, you can reuse this clay over and over and over again. Then we're going to remove our edges. Oh, isn't that pretty? Right at a 1/4 inch thick. Should look great in those frames. How about that? I love it. This is so cool. So now I need to let these air dry for 24 hours. Look at that. Really liking this.